Last night in Soho. More like last night in So-So.
Last Night in Soho is Edgar Wright's newest film and his first attempt at a fully serious horror movie. Before going into the film, I'd heard great things, and I'd heard not so great things, so I had absolutely no idea what to expect. Needless to say though, as soon as the film ended, I could see exactly why audiences seemed so split on the film, because I myself had very conflicting thoughts. While I for the most part thoroughly enjoyed the experience, it's easily the least good Edgar Wright film. For all of its high highs, which it does have for sure, there's always a moment that feels like any old director could have made it. On the one hand, I'm pretty comfortable in saying that Last Night in Soho has more to say than your average Wright movie, but on the other, it's by far his least self-aware, most loose, and most director and autopilot movie he's made to date. Think about what you love to see in Edgar Wright movies. Creative edits, consistent pinpoint precise camera work, visual and audio Easter eggs, quick-witted comedy, and realise how Last Night in Soho only has these in very sparse moments, and how underwhelming some of it feels as a result. Granted, a lot of this could have to do with the fact that it's a new film, I've only seen it once, and the magic of an Edgar Wright film is watching it over and over again to catch all the little details, but if I'm honest, I'm not really desperate to go back and watch it. Sure, the visuals are nice, and this slightly weak script massively benefits from having a talented guy like Wright behind the camera, but it lacks the urgency, the oomph, and the uniqueness of an Edgar Wright experience. He may mainly be praised for his style, but I dare anyone to say with a straight face that style has always had to offer in the past. Whereas here, there's a good chunk in the middle of Last Night in Soho that hugely lacks any kind of direction or end goal for our characters, and is quite literally just reliant on the style of it all. Then once we get to that end goal, the villain of the movie becomes someone that would pop up at the end of a cheap 80s slasher movie. Yep, that's it, no self-awareness about it, no clever twists on the formula, just a little old lady who will happily throw out her careful old murdering ways to spontaneously kill two teenagers. This is the man who made OAP's sword fighting with Simon Pegg look fucking awesome, and the main villain of his film is a completely straight-faced old lady stalking the protagonist up the stairs like it's the end of Friday the 13th. Then the film just completely loses it when Sandy's sexual predators beg for help, and then Sandy tries to take her own life, and I'm just sitting there wondering who I'm meant to sympathise with, whether I'm meant to sympathise with anyone, or whether I'm meant to sympathise with no one. So yeah, I left the film on that note, pretty bad taste in my mouth, and naturally continued to think about the film. And then I realised despite all that, I still can't say I didn't like it. See, the cinematography might not be as consistently flashy, the editing may not be as energetic, the screenplay may be a far cry from the concise nature of his earlier flicks, but my god is the filmmaking here still so on point. I think it's safe to say that we can add Last Night in Soho to the beloved camp of horror movies with a message, because Wright takes full advantage of the concepts and the film watching experience to explore corruption, violence, and the ignorance of nostalgia. I've never thought so much after watching an Edgar Wright movie, but the more I do, the more I appreciate the film and forgive its final shortcomings. I just find its message fascinating, this look into a world where young women who are struggling to find themselves confide in figures of the past, wishing for a time so simple, despite the fact that behind the scenes there was so much corruption and abuse taking place that will inevitably happen again on that same young woman unknowingly looking to go down the same path. It explores the cyclical nature of abuse, how the victim will eventually become the abuser and vice versa, how it will infect every part of your life. You can see its impacts just in how you perceive the music throughout the film. At the beginning, the 60s songs are like an escape, a way of saying, okay, things are happy again now. But once things take their dark turn, our rose-tinted glasses come off and not even the music brings a smile to our face anymore. And let me take this time to say that these themes are brought home amazingly by the main two performances and characters. These guys are so charming to watch and easy to root for once things turn south. This review just got weirdly positive, didn't it? That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why I feel audiences are so split on Last Night in Soho. It's a strange jumble of a film that will cause conflicting feelings, that will cause conflicting reviews. I honestly wouldn't blame anyone for loving or being disappointed by this film, so even though I think it has its merits, maybe bringing it up to a 7 out of 10, the fact that I'm even second guessing its quality is enough to make it the least good Edgar Wright film. So there you have it guys, there's my confused and weird thoughts on Last Night in Soho. Comment down below and let me know what you think of the film, I'd be really interested to know. While you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.